Hello everyone. Today I am going to talk about critical thinking through viewing. This is going to be a series of videos that will cover every part of the writing process from analyzing the image, asking questions, interpreting those questions, and then building from that information. So we have a lot to cover. This is a two-part series of the PowerPoint, and then the second series will be another two-part that I will be using Word and how to build your paper. So today's lecture will cover how to actively read an image, what questions to ask when you analyze an image, moving from analysis to interpretation and evaluating an image. The main point is that you should not make any assumptions when first viewing an image. You should try to read it from multiple layers. For instance, in this image here from Kenneth Cole, we look at the image, the object the model holds. We may make comments about the apparel and objects before moving on to the words displayed. Notice how the phrase and the website to Kenneth Cole are the biggest words you initially see. But upon further scrutiny, the smaller words detail the model, Nina Poon, transgender woman, loving girlfriend, makeup artist, and illustrator. When actively reading an image, you must ask, does this information change how you feel about the model or the clothes? Whether if it does or doesn't, then you must ask, does the saying we all walk in different shoes change? Does the saying help or hinder your interpretation of the image? Would you still be willing to buy something from Kenneth Cole based on this new information? There are a dozen images for this ad campaign that forces consumers to think outside of social norms. Even though they are trying to sell a product, they are trying to do so much more, which is to initiate social consciousness and tolerance. In order to interpret an image, there is a process you must follow. To view an image actively, you must first look at it from multiple layers. The first layer is to scan the image. Notice what pulls your eyes first and where you move from that point. Consider what is in the background and foreground. From that point, look for minute details that you may have missed upon first viewing the image. Make assumptions, but then you must question those assumptions. So assumptions are, again, they're based on little to no information. And so upon that first survey and scanning, you want to make some assumptions, but then be willing to question those assumptions. Question the design, message, medium, the targeted audience, and if applicable, the context. Also determine the purpose. Is it an ad trying to sell a product? Is it a political satire making an argument about political leaders? Or maybe its purpose is just simply to be beautiful. No matter what you decide, your assertion must come from your analysis. In the remaining slides, I will walk you through the visual analysis process. This image comes from my favorite graffiti artist, Banksy. Banksy is from London, but he travels the world leaving his mark. I have followed his work in some places such as London, New Orleans, after Hurricane Katrina, Israel, California, and New York. For my analysis, I will begin by scanning the image, which brings my eyes directly to the words in red, "Let them eat crack." Some of you may immediately know what this phrase is alluding to, but some of you may not, and that's okay. We are scanning the image. From the words, I look right to see a giant rat carrying a briefcase and an umbrella, and he is wearing a tie. Inspecting the image closer, I notice the rat is wearing a badge. Something is falling out of its briefcase, and red spots are on the rat's hands. It appears to be the same red the words "let them eat crack" are written in. Some questions I could ask are, where was this image taken? Or rather, where did he create this image? Is Banksy wanting viewers to believe that the rat wrote the words? What is falling out of the briefcase? Why is the rat wearing a name badge and carrying an umbrella? And it isn't raining. What context am I missing? There are a number of issues that can occur that may prohibit a clear understanding of the artist's central point and purpose. So be careful and do not try to rush through the process. The message, which is the author's thesis, the meaning, meaning the form, and the context can all hinder your interpretation of the image. I have given you information about Banksy, but some context, such as where the saying came from, may help. The artist's quote comes from the reviled Queen Marie Antoinette. She told her starving people, or so it would assume, there's no real proof, let them eat cake when she knew that they had no bread to eat. Also, Banksy painted this in New York in 2008 during the Wall Street bailout. Now, given this context and what we have already surveyed and inspected, it is safe to infer that the rat is a Wall Street banker, carrying a briefcase full of money. But what about the red spots on his hand and the umbrella? I have more about that later. After you have interpreted the image, which will be the bulk of your essay, your conclusion will provide an evaluation of the image. But to effectively evaluate an image, you must consider the rhetorical situation. Simply because you did not understand the context and or appreciate a certain form or style does not make the image ineffective. Some may immediately dismiss this image because it is considered graffiti and has no true value. But that would mean dismissing the irony, the allusions, and the social context that has plagued many U.S. citizens. This is the end of the first half of the video on visual analysis interpretation. The second half will cover moving from analysis to a synthesis.